of Christmas TCC gave to me. Edge of the Blade by GDSean, Yanagarasu by Trusta, Accident by the Saturn, Judgment Knights by Halo, BRK, MGB by Robot Chief, Shimmer by Amplitron, Ouroboros by Vibrant, Framework by Kaza and a Gate. Apex by Starkey the Salad, Kira's by its hybrid, Cosmic Cyclone by AP Team, and Eternal Moment by Rainstorm. Fuck you, Mawile. Hey guys, it's Willow, and welcome to my completion of Edge of the Blade by GDSean. I want to try a commentary style type of video and see how it turns out, as if I enjoy doing stuff like this, I might do this more often with even harder completions, so treat this as me just like testing the waters and wanting to find some excuse to, you know, make more content. It's been like 3 years since my last content video, and I'm not very happy with it, so yeah. I decided to pick this up for my clan's 12 Demons of Christmas, as I needed an excuse to beat something in this caliber of difficulty again. However, this was not my first pick for the event, as I had initially wanted to try and beat Tartarus. I had ended up getting 64 to 100 and 46 to 62 before dropping Tartarus, as I thought I wouldn't have enough time to play this because college was starting to ramp up, as I was in my 3rd semester of my social service worker program, and my general motivation for the game was running a little bit low. But when December rolled around, I still had no completion and no level picked out for this event, so I rolled a wheel of 10 levels, some of those being Sonic Wave Rebirth, Edge of the Blade, Spatial Rend, Schmarleyville, and you could probably tell what the real wheel rolled on just from, you know, looking at the video title. I beat this faster than I expected to, having only taken just a little bit over a week, which is surprising for me, considering I have not beaten anything in this caliber of difficulty for about a year. And for around 90% of the time, it was fun. I also didn't want to let my friends down, so I decided to hard focus this, so there's unfortunately not that much content that you're working with, so you're just gonna be getting a commentary video. So, yeah, I decided to do content for this after I had already beaten it, so it was a little bit late to go back for it, however I still wanted to try something, so here I am recording a fucking commentary at goddamn 2:30 in the morning. Enjoy this commentary recap type video. I don't fucking know. Day 1 was honestly a really short session for me, lasting only about 45 minutes before I decided to stop playing when I got to Anikana and Novel Boy's parts after learning 61 to 100. These parts would prove to be a major roadblock in terms of gameplay, difficulty, and just generally being a pain in the fucking ass. These parts made me reconsider whether I wanted to play the level or not, and you can see later on that these parts would genuinely start to fuck with me a little bit. The best run I managed to get in this time frame was only 61 to 97, which, given how short my session was and that a lot of it was due to learning, I'd say it was a pretty good session all around. Oh, don't you be acting mean. I went into this session with somewhat of an idea of how to play the parts I left off at, those being Novel Boy and Anikana's, and honestly, focusing on playing them helped me more with my confidence and general consistency that I needed for these parts, especially considering they were halfway into the level. Consistency is your best friend, pretty much. Gaining that consistency helped me out get decent runs later on in the session, but that wasn't my primary focus, as I still wanted to learn the rest of the level, as I had not learned anything in the first half. My goal for this session was to not do any runs until I had successfully learned the first half of the level, and in doing that, I noticed that while this level was primarily front-loaded, with a lot of the difficulty being in the first third, it wasn't the same kind of front-loaded that Sunset Sandstorm had. Thank fucking God for that. After I learned the level, I wanted to get some runs in order to build some consistency for when I went from 0. By the end of the session, I went to bed with 27%, 33 to 85, and 48 to 93, which were pretty good runs in the grand scheme of things.
You know, in like Rustam's ball part or whatever, where there's like the skull with like the pink orbs, Bo thought you had to hit the pink orbs to pass the part.
This was pretty similar to day one in terms of session time, as I didn't necessarily want to overexert myself. As with other levels I've played in the past, I tend to have problems with playing ungodly long sessions and burning out, as I have done with previous levels before. In this short session where I'd only chosen to play from 0, I managed to pull a new best of 37% out of nowhere when I thought my consistency was gone, and that ended up in creating a pretty funny clip. I think I've lost my consistency at Metal Face's Wave, GG.
Nah.
Oh, you right. Let me pass it next time I get there. Let me get to fucking 7%. Oh, thanks.
No problem, bro.
Thanks, man!
No problem. I think I've lost my consistency. Nah. Okay, I guess not.
The session ended not long after that clip, as I had to run to college in order to do some group work, and I almost ended up slipping and falling on my ass when going back to my car because, well... Welcome to Canada, eh? Today was a little bit different, as I had chosen to do 2 major sessions, and the first one happened after I had randomly woke up at 1:45 a.m. and decided to run up a session, which introduced me to some of the first half's beautiful, beautiful hitboxes. No major runs were done this session, as this was yet just another session where I only wanted to go from 0. However, within 10 minutes of playing in my session, I'd somehow fluked from 37 to 90. Yeah, I don't know either. This was just a de-rusting level, which is why I was genuinely so confused as to what the hell just happened. I then got my second best of 54%, literally only 5 minutes later, and decided to call a session after that attempt and go back to bed, as I had an exam like 7 hours after I cut my session, so... yeah. After I'd gotten my progress fluke randomly at like 2 in the morning, I decided to dedicate my next session to solely doing runs, as I didn't want that progress fluke to be a one-off consistency burst where I just never got back there. I had ended up doing multiple runs from 33 that got past 61. I don't 100% remember offhand, and I'm too fucking lazy to open GD. Going from 0 showed that, because within 10 minutes, I managed to get my second best of 85%, where I died to a buffer click, so admittedly that death pissed me off a solid amount, and it ended up ruining the rest of the session for me, so honestly, I just decided to cut it short, especially since I've gotten my first death to what I personally believe to be the worst gameplay in the level by a long shot, Anikana's Wave. But I'll go into that a little bit more later.
And if you're trying to hit it, look on the TD, RBC, Scotiabank, RBC, CIBC, PC Financial.
Yeah, nothing really happened on either these days, so I'm just gonna lump them into one and just say I had my fair share of deaths at Nobleboy, Anikana, and my couple deaths afterwards. Friday, after class, I decided to hit the gym with my IRL, Kaseki 1, and I ended up getting the treadmill up to 6.7 speed, and we thought that was funny because we both have the humor of actual fucking toddlers, and I was tired after that workout to dedicate a long session, so it was just another short session where I got to 50 a few times from 0 and realized more and more that Nobleboy's part is low-key kind of ass due to the way it was structured. Saturday was also nothing really significant, as I had work and I didn't want to stress myself out, so I played for 20 minutes and nothing significant came from that, so yeah, that's about it for this section.
Dude, nah, that's not even that though. I like damn near had a chocolate baby earlier.
I'm gonna be honest, this session was not a good one. In all honesty, it was probably one of the worst sessions of the level in terms of, well, my mental. Playing at 3 a.m. is never a good idea on any level difficulty, and I can say that for literally anybody. I had an unhealthy amount of Novel Boy deaths during this part, which can very easily be fixed, and it honestly just annoyed me a lot given the fact that these are all preventable issues that can be fixed by adjusting the structure and maybe even nerfing a few clicks as well, but the level's 5 years old, it is what it is, what can you do about it? In this session alone, I got 78, 84, 86, 84, and 81, which really pissed me off because it had been a few days since I got my new best due to my ungodly progress fluke a few days back. So I ended the session, went to bed pretty pissed off due to me not having gotten a new best or even just like beating the rest of the level, but I knew that attempt was going to come soon, as one thing I learned, mind blocks do not last forever. After waking up, I decided to just go back to the level after that session really just like messed with me a little bit. Within like 15 minutes, I do 48 to 100, and from there, I decided to just play from 0 until I had to leave for work, which left me with only 45 minutes to play, so I went into the session not expecting anything significant, or well, anything decent at all. And that session ended up with me getting a new best of 93%, which finally broke the 90% fluke progress mind block. And honestly, that run was genuinely the first time I felt actual nerves playing this game in like a solid 9 months or something. And it got to the point where I lost all the feeling in my right leg because of how nervous I was, and honestly, I found that a little bit funny. I then found an interesting transition bug at Anikana's part, which, well, yeah, it's self-explanatory on why I just chose to call the session here. You can tell.
Guys, don't jump!
All that happened in the first session of the day was I got 86 and complained more about Novel Boy's gameplay. Yeah, that's about it for session 1, I can't lie. It was like 20 minutes long and I had nothing interesting to say about it as, well, it was in between 2 exams. On Mondays, I had a 9 a.m. class and a 2 p.m. class, so yeah, I couldn't really play for that long. The second session started a little bit later than I had wanted it to because, well, I'm a fucking idiot and I accidentally bed-rotted for like 4 hours after dinner on accident, and my session was a lot shorter than I would have wanted it to because of that, so I can't really say much about it other than the fact that I wasn't as consistent as I would have liked for the first hour until I just randomly decided to pull the completion out of my ass, which I'm just going to play now as I'm running out of interesting things to say about my session. Honestly, I feel really good about this completion, and it's for a significant reason to me. Ever since I beat Sazerac back in November 2023, according to the AREDL, I maintained the exact same top 5 since the day I beat Sazerac, and that consisted of, well, Sazerac, Wasseretta, Sonic Wave, Yatagarasu, and Erebus. Although I strongly disagree with Sonic Wave's placement, but yeah, that's besides the point. Until today, that top 5 had remained the same for over 2 years. When I beat Edge of the Blade, according to AREDL, it was my 5th hardest, and doing it in under 5k attempts at my current skill and confidence level was a really pleasant surprise, as I've barely beaten anything on this caliber of difficulty since I beat Chromatic Haze last October. I honestly feel this is a little bit underrated on Aredal, as I personally think this is harder than Yatagarasu and Sonic Wave, and in my opinion it should be above both. But I do also think Sonic Wave should be moved down like 40 spots, so this is technically a 3rd hardest as well, which is really cool to me, as I honestly haven't been this proud of completion for a long time. Would I recommend this level? If you can put up with Nobleboy's part being much worse because of the structuring and the way it is, and Anikana's part being the most awkward gameplay you'd probably ever play due to how you have to, like, manually switch your perception on one wave to the other wave and then back just to make sure you're not hitting any obstacles. Anikana is a really weird part all around. But if you can handle those, I'd recommend it personally. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys whenever I can be asked to beat something. Good night, guys. Or good afternoon, whenever the hell you're watching this. Yeah. Bye-bye.